Hello, we are back. My guest today, Miss Lianne, owner of Watch Us Thrive podcast. I'm going to give you the mic now so you can introduce yourself.
It's a long time coming for this sit down to happen. So I'm super excited to be here. Thank you. Hey, everybody. My name is Lianne. I am the creator and host of the Watch Us Thrive podcast. If you're watching, I mean, we're going to get into the whole backstory of how this started, but I'm just someone who likes to have real ass conversations. And I think that's why me and Yossi have just been down since day one, the first day that we met. And we're just the type of people to have real ass conversations. We don't sugarcoat shit for nobody. And yeah, I'm excited to have this combo.
Well, like you say, let's talk about shit you don't want to talk about. I'm going to piggyback off of, for those that don't know, I send out a questionnaire for people that are going to be on the show, and I piggyback off of what they talk about, what they want to talk about, and what they don't want to talk about. So me and Lianne are always super open with our conversations. If you haven't heard us on other episodes, you know we talk about whatever the fuck comes to our mind. I had a question, and I really wanted to start with this because it kind of boils down to everything you do now and your life now and who you are. Do you think you would still be a strong advocate for domestic violence had you not experienced it? You might can hear your head shaking.
No. And I say that because I was very naive to the whole term around domestic violence. I never saw that growing up, never knew anyone in my social circle who dealt with that. I saw it on movies, TV shows, but that shit is like, I don't want to really say like fantasize. It's something that you see happens to other people, but it's never going to hit close to home. So
Right.
yeah, I was very naive around the technical term, but I was absolutely very well versed in being in toxic and abusive relationships. When I was in it, I didn't realize that. And I didn't really realize that I was a survivor, a victim, someone who went through an abusive relationship until after I got out of it. I truly believe that I went through what I went through for a reason. Not necessarily did I understand that in the moment, but being on the other side now, after hitting rock bottom, really losing myself in the process of that relationship, the shit happened the way it was supposed to happen in order for me to be sitting down today and having this conversation with you. So
yeah, it has, and that's how actually I'm trying to remember how we met. I feel like I've known you forever now, but it really hasn't been.
We met at Manifiesta, right? Were you in Manifiesta?
Oh, it was virtually. That's right.
Yeah.
It was virtually, and then we joined Sisterhood. Queen of Confidence with Erica Kramer. Amazing. Still love her. Now I remember it's coming back. That shit I feel like has been forever ago, but it was last year, which is crazy.
2 years.
2 years? Oh my God. See, it's like crazy. This year I feel like flew by. I don't know if you want to get a little bit personal on it, but if you want to share like the pivotal moment or turning point in your personal story of escaping an abusive relationship. Well, I feel like you had already left, right? Or did you have to escape it? I can't remember.
So, first of all, you can ask me anything. So anything you want to ask me, there's nothing that you cannot ask me.
No, but I want to make sure I'm not fucking up your story. So I'd rather you say like what was the pivotal moment in your personal story that, either you escaped or you had already left, and how it influenced your perspective on the awareness of domestic violence. Because a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I went through that, but then they don't realize how much is fucking up their life and ongoing relationships until like they have a breaking point or something bigger happens, and they're like, damn, why the fuck don't I trust nobody, or why do I have all these problems, or why am I so negative Nancy with my next partner? And it's really because you never worked on whatever happened, right?
I mean, that was me. I was the poster child of being in one toxic relationship after another. My pivotal moment, my breaking point was the night of March 12th, 2021, when this man almost killed me. And I literally had to escape from my apartment after what felt like forever of him putting his hands on me. Just a lot of horrible shit that I went through. And I talk about it very openly on my podcast. It was that night that everything shifted. That is when I really started my healing process. But it didn't happen right at that moment. I had to come back home. I was living in Florida, come back to my family home. I lost everything, my apartment, my car, my job, had no money. Like I was literally at fucking rock bottom. I knew that I needed help, and I knew that I couldn't heal from something so traumatic like what I went through on my own. That's when I started working with Erica Kramer. I was going to therapy, group therapy, finding people to help me heal from something that literally almost took my life. But that was the pivotal moment for me, that I had to look in the mirror and be like, you are repeating the same cycle. You are finding these really shitty relationships, but you're not taking any accountability within yourself as to like, why are you attracting these shitty relationships over and over and over? And that's when the real work started. But I had to hit rock bottom in order for that to happen.
Now, with all the work you've put in and work you continue to do, because this is like a lifelong journey, I feel.
Yep.
Do you feel like you know why you allowed it? Finding the same people in your life where it's like, I want to fix this person, or I'm going to be his, his keeper. Because I've been there,
Yes.
you want to fix everybody.
Exactly. And I will say, I did allow it. So I don't want to change that verbiage. Did I deserve? No. What he did to me is not my fault. That's his problem. That's his responsibility. I will never take that on. What I talk about a lot on my podcast is just like the accountability aspect for me is one of the first things that really started to change my life. I had to look in the mirror and be like, you thought this was okay because you didn't love yourself. I had no idea what it meant to have a relationship with Lianne on her own. I'm a recovering anxious attachment. I'm a recovering codependent partner. I'm someone who had zero relationship with myself in my entire life. I started dating when I was 14. I've never been alone. And I just came to realize on this healing journey that to be 100, I hated myself. And there was a lot of lack within me that I was trying to find that in other people because I didn't want to look in the mirror showing the ugly part of myself that I try to hide from the world. So I'm going to find that in other people when really I had to find that shit within myself. And that's a process that I'm still working through. There's good days and there's bad days. There's days that I feel like a bad bitch and there's other days that I'm like, holy fucking shit, I'm a fucking mess. But and I'm sure you can relate because we've had these
I think if you're a human female,
yeah,
that's normal.
So yeah, and like you said, it's an ongoing journey. Like this is a lifelong thing. Even though this shit happened almost 3 years ago, this is something, the core wounds that I need to heal from stem way further back than that. And that's the journey that I'm on now to try not to really fix, because I don't think you can fix the past, but just shift the narrative for the person that I'm becoming now and who I will be in the future, if that makes sense.
No, it is. It is. You have a daughter, right?
Yeah.
She's how old?
14. God.
No. Crazy. And actually, my son will be 15, so we have two 14-year-olds, which is crazy.
Yeah.
I bring her up because you are not only doing this for other people, for strangers, for people you know in your family, for friends. I don't know how many you have. I hold a close-knit circle, but for her to know and to value herself and to really know what to stand for and what not to, what not to accept. And that's huge because a lot of women will hide this because I don't want my daughter to go through this, so I'm going to not even talk about it. And it's like fucking backwards, you know? It's like, I don't want her to know that this guy did this to me because I don't want her to experience it. Or I don't want her to see me bruised up because I don't want her to experience it. But in reality, it is going to fuck them up for a little bit. But if you do the work with them and you help them, and I feel like you've been so open, I'm assuming she's on social media. She sees what you're doing. I don't know if she was 3 years ago, 11, almost 3 years ago. That's a very, very innocent age still. But you're all over the internet. You're all over with your podcast. You're on other people's platforms. So if she didn't hear the story from you, she was going to hear it from somebody else. So it was like, I'm proud of you for having that open relationship with her, meaning letting her in and letting her learn about it, because instead of finding it, God forbid, on her own in a negative way in the future, but to be ready to know those signs, those red flags, those things that, you talk about it a lot, about what to watch out for and stuff like that.
So she wasn't with me physically when I was in that abusive relationship. Like I said, I was living in Florida and she was still back here because she was going to school out here. I told her everything when I got back. I sat her down. We went to therapy together. There is nothing that she does not know about that situation. I'm proud of that too. Like, thank you for seeing me, for acknowledging me for that, because, I say this all the time on my own show. It's huge. And it's something that I didn't have growing up. It's not something that my family, I love them to death. I had a great childhood growing up, but I never had a relationship with my parents, especially my mom, that I could go to her and talk to her about the uncomfortable things. And for me to not have had that growing up, and now that I'm a mom and I'm a single mom on top of that, her father is not in the picture at all. I feel like it's my duty to be able to shift the narrative and shift the generational cycle that was passed down to me, to be like, I can continue the cycle of like hiding behind shit and sweeping things under the rug and pretending like shit's not happening. Or I can be like, you know what? This is my fucking truth. And I'm going to tell you my experiences to hopefully you don't repeat them. But if you do ever find yourself in a situation where you're not safe or there's something going on, I want her to have the mentality, yo, I'm going to call my mom immediately, instead of being like, oh my God, I'm fucking terrified to tell my mom. And for us to have that relationship, I hold so close to my heart, because it's hard. It's fucking hard being a parent, being a single mom, being in these toxic relationships. And another thing I wanted to say too is that there's also the other side, that people stay in these relationships because of the kids. And that's another fucking trauma that people don't like to talk about. Oh, I'm gonna stay for the kids because we're married and we got this and that. But you guys are in a household that's fucking chaotic. And that's causing trauma to them too, that they're gonna be passed down for generations and generations. Y'all are just repeating the cycle. So my whole spiel, and even talking about that too, is like, yo, fuck that. Do not stay for the kids, because you're fucking them up even more by doing that, by exposing them to the toxicity, by exposing them to like, oh, this is what a healthy relationship is supposed to look like. No, it's not. It's, you're supposed to have a healthy relationship with yourself, and then hopefully they will hold on to that and pass that down as they get older.
And that's powerful, because that part right there, it doesn't even have to be an abusive relationship. It could be a relationship that just isn't working out, and they're just together because they have the kids. And they, oh, we got married, we have to push through, or we got to figure this out. It's like, guys, no, it's not going to change. Those kids are not going to fix y'all. Y'all been apart. You just got that paper that you don't want to fucking cut up. Like, just let it go. And I literally always say this, like, I'm sorry. And I didn't want to be a single mother either. I didn't want to go through things like that either. But it got to a point where we had our kids so young. You know, both my kids are from the same guy. We have a great relationship now, but we were so young and we grew apart. And it's okay to admit that too. Why stay and be miserable and be like, yo, I can't stand my baby mama or my baby daddy or all this baby mama drama? No, I'm really like all the way good. Like, no. And it doesn't even have to get physical. It could be an emotional damage to you, to your children, to just see this fake ass relationship going on and then grow up saying like, it's okay. My family's been together forever. Both my parents are good. Yeah, everybody's happy. Meanwhile, these fucking people don't even talk to each other. Shit is happening so often all around us. It's like, bro, the flags are there, waving all over your face. And you're just like, whatever, maybe another day, or maybe tomorrow will be fine. Like, no, there's so much more than just actual domestic violence in relationships that can fuck up the future of your children, all for just being the fuck alone. And I have to go back to your whole like being the queen of like not wanting to be alone. I remember feeling that for a while, because I did have my kids so early, and then I was so scared, like, damn, I fucked up, I'm gonna be a single mother, like these kids are not gonna know what family is. So to me it was like, I never brought other guys home ever. That's one thing that I didn't do until my last relationship. And we broke up almost 14 years ago. And I still didn't bring other men around them. But I just never wanted to be alone. So I did date. I did enjoy my life. But I was always with a friend. Or I was always with someone. Or like couldn't even go grocery shopping alone. I couldn't do shit alone. Like I was just like, oh, you want to come with me? Oh, you want to come with me? Oh, you want to come with me? Because I didn't realize it was about a self-love thing. And I was like, damn, what the fuck is wrong with me? When I finally, now that I'm like, I'm going over here. I'm going over there. I'm going to the gym. The gym was a big thing. I could not go to the gym alone. I needed Fulana to be there because the motivation Fulana was giving me. Nobody was giving me motivation. They were just standing there. Just fucking literally standing there. And I'm like, I don't need anyone to do anything, really. I don't. I enjoy people's company now when I want it.
There's a difference.
And there's a big difference now. I used to think I needed to do these things. So I'm glad you acknowledge that too on yourself, because you still are very young. I know sometimes we don't feel it. You're still very young. We still have time to find that person that we don't need but want in our presence. Because feeling like like you need this person to live, to breathe, to eat, shit, sleep. Like, I don't want that ever. I do not want that type of relationship where I'm so clingy or they're so clingy where I'm like, bro, I need you to find your own life. I can't do that. And I'm glad you're showing that to your daughter too, because if she goes away to college, she's going to be okay being away in college. Like, I'm dying for my son to do that. I don't know about you, but I want him to experience what I couldn't. I'm like, somebody better dorm.
His daughter, she said she's going to the Navy. Once she graduates high school, she's at. So I'm like, wow. Now I'm really going to be on my own. So I better enjoy this feeling now.
We got 4 years left.
Yes.
Yeah. So my son wants the dorm far. And I'm like, I'm all for it. But I'm like, damn, ain't nobody going to be here. What the fuck?
Yep.
We're going to be either in relationships or really okay with being by ourselves.
Gotten to the point where I'm really okay being by myself for the first time in my life.
I like you wrote about taking accountability in your life role. You wrote that, right? Like you would talk about that. To me, I wanted to ask, like, in the context of personal growth, how do you see taking accountability in your own life role as a crucial step? And like, can you provide an example from your own experience?
Like I said before, I really just had to look in the mirror and be like, bitch, you're a part of the problem. What happened to me, I didn't deserve it. I didn't ask for it. I wouldn't want to go through it again. I could have gone without that trauma, right? It was like I was on a hamster wheel and I was just attracting one piece of shit person after another, after another, after another. And the abuse that I went through was very different in every relationship. Before this last one, that was only 10 months, I was in it was almost a 9-year long, very toxic relationship. It did get physically abusive a couple of times, but I didn't realize that back then. And we were both abusive to one another. Like, we both put our hands on each other. But that relationship was such an emotional, mental mindfuck that I endured for almost a decade of my life. That is domestic violence. And people don't really realize that emotional abuse is fucking real. And that's usually how it happens before eventually it can escalate to physical abuse. And that's something that I went through a lot in that relationship. Like, looking back at it now, being who I am today, I don't recognize the girl that I was back then because it's such a 180. But I had to really look in the mirror after this last one and be like, yo, what the fuck are we doing? We're back here again. We're in another shitty relationship again. We found someone who's disrespecting me again, calling me out my name again, putting his hands on me again, doing all these things that I was used to. Like, that's all that I knew. All I knew was toxic bullshit. It was very familiar to me. So I was like, oh, okay, I can handle it. This is nothing. But then this last one was the one that, it really is the one that shook me to my core to be like, when is it going to give? When are we going to start to really make some real life changes that you wish for, but you're not doing anything about it? I stand so hard on accountability because it's a part that a lot of us don't like to talk about. There's a lot of responsibility that I had to take in my role that I played in those relationships. And once I realized that, that's when I was able to start shifting and changing. But it's not easy to like look in the mirror and be like, you're part of the problem, sis.
Not a woman admitting that. Are you crazy?
Oh my God.
Me? Am I the drama?
I was the drama. Yes.
Yeah, no, a lot of us do not like to take the fall, and that's the thing. And the reality is, like, women, I hate to say this, but it's the truth, they like to just blame the man always. And it's just like, I've grown so much in that area where I'm like, nah, bro, you're wrong. And my friends are like, oh, you know, you're your masculine energy. I'm like, it's not that. It's you're dead ass wrong. And I have no problem admitting when I'm wrong now, too. I used to hate it. I used to literally fucking to the core, no, he's fucking crazy. It's him. But I'm like, all right, I'm sounding a little nuts right now. I need to like really reevaluate myself. But when you take accountability for your actions, when you admit to yourself, all right, I'm acting a little crazy right now. I shouldn't have said XYZ to trigger him, to trigger this argument, to make it escalate and want to keep arguing because I was a hothead. I wanted to argue all the time. Oh, you don't want to argue with me? That means you don't care about me. Oh, you don't want to, you don't have nothing to say? Oh, that means you don't care about this conversation. Oh, you want to take time? But now I'm like, oh, you need to think about what you want to say to me? Okay, now I get it. But before, I hated that because I'm like, what do you mean you don't want to speak right away? Just fucking say what you gotta say. And I realized we really say some wild ass crazy shit when we're mad. Do you mean some of it? Yes. Do you mean all of it? No. But it's because you're not taking that moment to be like, you know what? I need to calm down to really process my feelings and then tell you how I feel. But for a while, I thought that was
Yep.
just disrespectful. Like, I was like, what the fuck? You don't want to talk? You don't want to express yourself? And it was all anger that I had inside. Just energy from years and trauma of just like, trauma that I didn't even know existed. Same shit for you. Trauma that you didn't know you had, that you were holding on to. Childhood shit, mommy wounds, daddy wounds, we don't fucking know wounds that come out later after the shitty, ugly part happens. Then you're like, why was I okay with this? Or why didn't I see this sooner? We don't see it because we're not putting in work. We're not doing the inner healing. I wanted to ask you if you could elaborate on the concept of healing your inner shadows and any transformative work that you've done on your personal journey towards self-discovery, self-love, and all that stuff.
When I hit my rock bottom, I knew I couldn't do this work alone. So that's when, shout out to my mom and my sister, they got me my very first life coach that I ever worked with. And it was because of my mom that I actually went to therapy, because I said that I lost my job and my car. I had no insurance. And shout out to Dr. Lambert. He was able to take me on as a patient out of the kindness of his heart, knowing that I had no insurance and knowing my situation. And he really, really helped me figure out what the fuck was the problem. And doing that inner shadow work and looking in the mirror and taking accountability and all these things. I remember this one exercise that my first life coach, it was this one exercise that she had me do. It was, I want to say maybe like 3 or 4 months into working with her, and she had me write a letter of forgiveness. When she first told me about that, I was like, forgiveness? I'm not ready to fucking forgive him. Fuck him. You know what I mean? That's the energy that I was thinking. Yes, I was very angry. I was very hurt, very triggered. She was like, no, it's not a letter to him. It's a letter to you. And I was like, forgive me? What the fuck did I do? What do you mean? I'm not the problem. He just broke it down in a way for me to be like, forgiving yourself is letting go all of the feelings that are coming up for you. Forgiving yourself for feeling like this was okay. Forgiving yourself for not leaving the first time. Forgiving yourself for the childhood shit that you've gone through. Like, you have to forgive yourself in order for you to start the healing process, for you to really move on from the pain and the hurt that you've been holding on to. So she was like, you're gonna take out a journal. And I know it's so cliche, but journaling is so fucking therapeutic for us to get the shit out that we're thinking, because we live in here. To release it, like if you write it or if you start a podcast and start talking about your shit, finding a way to release that shit is so therapeutic. So she was like, you're gonna write out a letter of forgiveness to yourself, and then you're gonna look in the mirror and you're gonna read it back out loud to yourself. On top of that, she was going to be like, then you're going to tell yourself that you love yourself. You're going to say, I love you. I love you. I love you, Lianne. I love you. And you're going to say it until you actually mean it. And y'all, that exercise was like such an emotional release for me. I have not cried that hard in a very long time, but that was really doing the work to go to the dark, painful parts of me that I didn't even really know were there. The parts of me that I don't want anyone to see, to forgive myself for so much other shit besides that relationship. I recommend that to anyone. And it's not easy.
I was writing it down because I'm like, I want to do this. I feel like now I need to do this for whatever I need to apologize for. And I actually want to send it to my friend, because I have some friends right now that I feel like it's just in the air right now. All this like healing and spiritual journey that I'm on, because I'm on a big spiritual journey. I don't know if you know that, but I've just kind of like, it's so impactful. But I'm like, healing the heart is humongous. And that's what we have to heal before we're able to move on from anything, really. And sometimes it's our own self-love, our own heart, whatever we're holding on to, whatever we've put ourselves through without even knowing we're putting ourselves through this shit. For years, I was like, nah, I got it. I'm good. Yo, where's that cape? What's up? Now I'm like, you want to help me? Who wants to help me? Hello, I need help. Hi. No, I can't do this alone. I have no fucking problem now saying, hey, you want to collaborate? Hey, you want to do this together? Hey, I need somebody to come to my house and help me move this fucking furniture. Bullshit that I know I can probably do, but I'm fucking spent, bro. I'm tired. I want help. I am not a robot anymore. And it's okay to admit I am not a fucking robot. I have my very, very down days. And then I have days where I'm like, nah, I don't want to be around people, so I'm going to do this shit by myself. But there's lately a lot of days where I want help. I don't give a fuck anymore. And I have no problem admitting that. And I feel like the ego ego gets so clouded and we are not allowed to tell that bitch to move over. Like, bitch, I got this. No, like, leave me alone. Get out of my head. That shit is fucking traumatic. Traumatic as fuck. Those memories will come up, those feelings will come up, and then you just fall into that trap again because you're not telling that bitch to, yo, I got it. We're not going to live there anymore.
Sometimes doing something different is scary because you don't know what the outcome is going to be. But what's scarier is repeating the same fucking thing over and over, like I was doing, and expecting something different to happen. That's the definition of insanity, right? So sometimes you have to do the scary shit. Sometimes you have to go to the uncomfortable feeling that you don't want to if you're truly ready to change that shit. And if you're not, that's okay too. I love that for you. You like it, I love it, right? But I just got sick and tired of my own shit. And sometimes you need to get sick and tired of being sick and tired in order to start changing some shit. It's not easy.
It's crazy that
choose your hard.
No, you got to choose your hard for sure. I heard a quote on Instagram, and the whole quote was dope. But the end, she said, "The rearview mirror is there to remind you of your past, but don't give it a residence." I was like, holy shit. The whole thing was good, but when she got to that line, I was like, oh my God. You need that, because she said, you're driving forward, picture yourself in the car, you have this big glass, you're seeing what's ahead of you. You have this little mirror reminding you of what's behind you. If you stay looking there, she said, you're gonna fucking crash. I was like, holy shit. If you focus on the back or like what's behind you, you're gonna crash. We can't change what's back there. It passed, it's there. There's a bigger picture. When you're driving, you have a big window in front of you. It's a bigger picture of what's ahead of you. So stop looking at this small ass mirror of what was there, because we cannot go back there and we're not supposed to be back there, right? I just was like, wow, that's nuts that I saw that today, and we're talking about all this stuff and our past and our present, because a lot of us live in the past for so long, and it's the most unhealthiest way to live your life. And there might have been some good times, like, okay, we all have good times. We got there for a reason, right? We had a good time, but that time passed, and unfortunately, it's no longer here. And it's no longer here for a reason, because something bigger and better is in front of you, and you have to be willing to allow yourself to get to that bigger and better area or moment of your life. We talked about a lot of stuff already so far. I know you're an advocate for speaking up, you know, and how that changes your life. We don't even have to really dabble into that, because you kind of said so much that, and even, you know, when we talked about your daughter, how important it is to be honest, to be open with this, especially if you have children, especially if you have younger daughters, even if you have boys. Some women are fucking abusive, like verbally, mentally, emotionally, like they treat men like shit, and some men just don't say anything. They just deal with it because, hey, oh, that's the mother of my kids, or hey, you know, I've been with her for 15 years, or oh, that's all the only person I've been with. Nah, you have a right, men and women both have a right to speak up and walk the fuck away. But I wanted to ask you now, because you've done so much work on yourself and now you're helping other people heal, right? You have launched a coaching program. I wanted to know your definition of self-love. In your perspective, what does the term self-love mean, and how has your understanding of one's self-love evolved for you?
That's such a good question. I love it. Self-love is something that I'm still working on. It's still a struggle for me some days, but I truly believe that being by myself is what I needed in order to really learn who the fuck I am on my own. Very, very codependent in all of my relationships. I hated the thought of being alone, and I've finally gotten to the point, if it doesn't happen for me, if I don't find that person, I finally reached the point that I'm okay with it. If it happens for me, okay, cool. I would love that. You know, we all want love. We all want someone to call our own, but for me to get to the point that I'm happy being alone, that for me is huge. You know, like I value my peace over anything nowadays. I was in such chaos, such toxicity for so long that now self-love to me means that I'm fucking happy. I'm just happy being on my own. I'm not willing to ever lose that shit ever again, to the point that my life was almost taken from me. Yo, that shit was crazy. I could literally not have been here to share this conversation. I could have just been another news story that eventually faded away, and I would just be a yearly memory easy. You know what I mean? But for me to have gone through what I went through, I don't take that shit for granted. I don't take my life for granted. And the most important relationship that I'm committing to is the one that I have with myself. And I don't want any distractions. I refuse to let anyone disturb my peace ever the fuck again. That's what self-love means to me. Just being happy on my own and being whole on my own. I don't like that thought of like, oh, you're my other half. You complete me. No, fuck that. I'm completing myself, and whoever comes, you're just a bonus. But I'm good on my own.
I never understood that. You're my other half shit.
That's toxic,
I'm
okay?
like, you were born alone, so that's a lie. Stop saying weird shit. I don't like it. So, okay. On top of that, you also, not only a mental, emotional journey, but you did a physical, you did a weight loss surgery. Obviously, everybody has specific reasons. Some people do it for health, some people do it for appearance. Was this just part of like an overall self-help, self-healing, something you needed for your health? Like, I don't know, everybody's reason behind it is different, right? So what was your why behind that?
It's a little bit of everything. Definitely for my health. I was pre-diabetic. I was dealing with a lot of health issues. I do have arthritis in my knee as a result of years of carrying the heavy weight. But it just got to the point that I felt like a fucking prisoner in my body. The way that I felt about myself physically fucked with the way that I felt about myself mentally. I felt like I was attracting these toxic relationships. Like, oh, who the fuck is going to love me because I look like this, right? Like, if this is all I'm going to have, then I'm going to hold on to it for dear life. I wanted to do the weight loss surgery for years, but it just didn't happen. It happened when it was supposed to happen. But for me, it's just unlocking another level of healing of me finally starting to feel good about how I look physically. And that's going to portray how I carry myself into the world. And it's going to change the way that I feel about myself mentally and emotionally. You know, it's a roller coaster. There's great days and there's not so great days, just like this personal development journey. But I had to do something drastic for me in order to really change the relationship that I had with myself. And the physical part, I mean, that's something that I struggled with. I don't want to say my entire life because I was not a big child, but in my later adult life, I just had very unhealthy relationships with a lot of things, with work, with food, with people. And I just got to the point that's like, now it's affecting my daily living, my daily habits. Yo, there was a point that my feet, both of them swelled up and I thought there was like a blood clot in my leg and I was going to fucking die. And I went to the hospital and luckily everything was okay. That was before the surgery. But I was like, yo, like I have to do something different. Doing the same shit over and over, nothing is fucking changing. I'm wishing things could be different, but I'm not doing anything to change it. So for me, and I'm so grateful that I was able to do it, but I had to do the weight loss surgery. Again, another lifelong thing that I have to put in the work in order to make it long lasting. I don't know. I think I'm hard-headed and I wait until God is like, bitch, you gonna keep playing? And that's when I finally decided to listen. So yeah, that's why I did it.
You're the, if you fuck around, you're gonna find out person.
And I found out.
And we're gonna stop doing that.
Yes.
And now you're like, okay, I gotta stop. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Good.
All right, God, I got you.
You're like, all right, that was round 2 and now I'm done. Yeah. So I have just 2 more interesting questions. What are future plans for Miss Lianne or for Watch Us Thrive, aside from the podcast, your coaching now? I mean, you could talk a little bit about what type of coaching, because there's a specific type of coaching you're doing now.
Yes. So my coaching is geared towards women who have been in toxic and abusive relationships and really want someone to help them find the relationship that they have with themselves. When I was in those toxic relationships, I had zero relationship with myself. That's the one that I neglected the most. And I'm really out here just trying to help people go back to self, like come back to us, right? And then things can build off from that. But we really got to look in the mirror and take accountability. I could also call myself like kind of an accountability coach and just have you like really focus on what the fuck is going on with you. And then we can go on from there, because that's how I've been able, and I still am, healing healing from my own shit. I had to come back to self. I don't know, bigger plans for me. I definitely want to do more speaking in person. I want to host my own event. There's a lot of still like imposter syndrome that's coming up for me. I know. Like I said, this is a lifelong journey, right, that I'm working through, but I just want to continue using my voice to spread the message that I've been through some shit, but look at me now, and that can be you too. And that's also why I love my podcast. It's called Watch Us Thrive. And I really just want to continue highlighting stories of people who have been able to turn the shitty things that they've gone through into the magic that is out there today. Like turning your pain into power. That's what I've been able to do with my own story. And I just want to continue helping people realize that you have fucking magic within you too. Yes, the cards that were dealt in your life were some things you could have gone without, but that doesn't need to be your whole life story. Like you can shift the narrative and you can rewrite it to be something beautiful. And I'm doing that one conversation at a time. So we'll see. Maybe I'll get my own TV show. Maybe I'll be on Sirius XM. I don't know. We'll see. Whatever God got in store for me.
I like it. I like it a lot. That was very well put. And I can see that for you, actually. I can see that fast because your podcast grew very fast, and that's amazing. And we're going to host that event. We are going to host that event because, you know.
Yes, 2024. I'm putting it out there.
2024. That's it. It's right around the corner. And lastly, I know we said you introduced yourself, but who is Lianne without the titles?
Lianne without the title is a bad bitch. Okay?
Okay, that was fast.
Yeah. She is someone who is proud of what the fuck she's gone through and what she's been able to turn it into. There used to be such shame. There used to be such sadness. And there kind of still is. You know, I'm not perfect. Like I said before, there's still those sad girl days that I go through. But when I sit back and think about all the shit that I've gone through, stuff that I didn't talk about and I haven't talked about publicly yet, I'm fucking here for a reason, you know? And I'm proud as fuck of the woman that I'm turning into. Even with all my flaws, even with all the scars, even with all the shit, I'm still standing here for a reason. And I'm fucking proud of that. So yeah, she's a bad bitch that has a little bit of scars and shit, but she's out here thriving regardless.
I love that.
Yes.
I love that. Love that a lot.
First time someone ever asked me that. I like that question a lot.
You can have it.
No, it's good.
You can have it. It's not really mine. Somebody asked me that, and I was like, I don't fucking know, because I'm like, you're right. Oh shit. When I first answered it, I literally was so lost because I didn't know what they meant. I really didn't, because I was like, I'm a mom, I'm a this, I'm a coach, I'm an event planner, and it was like, no, I want to know who you are. And I was just like, wow, that's so like powerful and deep. I can't remember what I answered because it was months ago, but now can say that I am a fierce woman living in her power finally and happy with the decisions I've made. I have no regrets. I love to, cheer people on. I'm a big believer on uplifting other people. My power is to help other people grow and find their clarity in their life and what they want to do, because I feel like that's what I've been doing for so long for people and I didn't realize it. And this year I was like, damn, what do I coach people on? And it's that, finding their clarity. Who are they? What do they want to do? Be yourself, and like helping people literally come out of this shell, because so many people are still living with this mask life. And it's like, yo, just be yourself, because everybody else is already taken, bro. Like,
preaching.
So I'm just like, that's me now, and I can finally say that without like confusion and like feeling lost of who I really am. But it took a long time.
Absolutely.
Sure did, girl.
I'm proud of you, sis. Proud of you.
I'm proud of you, girl. That wrapped up our episode, and it was amazing to have you on. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for being open. Thank you for being you, because it takes a lot to be openly and honest with stories like those, and just stories that are near and dear to people's heart. I don't expect anyone to ever want to speak freely, but when you do, it helps so many other people around. You're never in a situation alone. I feel like because you feel like you're alone, it's because you're not talking about it. And once you open and you're like, yo, this happened to me, or hey, I'm feeling this way, so many people are going to turn heads and be like, shit, me too. Or damn, I'm not alone. Hold up. Somebody else has went through this. We can save so many lives not gatekeeping shit, on not keeping shit in, on opening up just any fucking door. Like, Jesus, you don't know who the fuck you're going to help. There's sometimes I post some random shit and somebody's like, wow, I felt that today. And I'm like, you're welcome. Like, I don't even know who sometimes I'm posting for. I literally sometimes just post things, and it has helped so many random people lately that I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to be more honest, more open, because authenticity is what's selling right now. Even if you're not selling anything, that's what people are buying, is authenticity. You know, there's no need to hide behind closed doors anymore. It's 2023. The world is literally shit.
There's a message in the mess. And
Yeah.
I realized that I'm fucking proud of my mess because I'm out here helping people with the shit that I've gone through. And that started with me talking about it. So if we're doing it, you can too. You ain't got to start a podcast, okay? It's a lot of work.
I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, guys, but I'm doing it.
And that's the point.
I'm very proud of me not knowing what the fuck I'm doing for once, because I usually know everything.
But you're doing
and I'm
it
like,
anyway.
no, we're good. We're just here. We're winging it. And guess what? I'm going to hit a year in December. That's crazy.
Yes, girl. 2 years
crazy.
for me in January.
Oh my God. Oh, awesome. I'm going to put this on the show notes, but what's your Instagram handle and all that stuff?
Follow me, Watch Us Thrive podcast. Listen to the show every Tuesday, and you can watch my episodes on YouTube. And if you want to work with me, hit the link in my bio or visit wutpodcast.com. My coaching is there. And please, y'all, DM. My DMs are always open. Even if you don't want to work with me and you just want to talk to someone who gets it, feel free to reach out. And leave a rating and review, y'all. For us podcasters, we love the DMs. Yes. We love the emails. We love all that shit, but we need that shit, especially in Apple. So leave a rating and review. Check your girl out. I'm here.
Awesome. She knows all that shit, y'all, but I'm going to write this on the show notes. Thank you.